So you get done with buds. Buds, the biggest thing people always ask about the physical part of buds. You're in good shape, no factor.
Yeah, yes. Is it physically exhausting? Of course.
Yeah,
what do you want me to say?
You get tired. Yeah.
But you know what it is also is it's an opportunity to actually start cementing your reputation.
Yeah.
And again, I was very much still a sergeant, and the instructors loved me because I would rally the boys. Even, what I like to call a healthy appetite or healthy disrespect for authority is to get the guys fired up against them a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
And they get paid a little bit, you see them smirking and be like, all right, it's
worth the price.
Yeah. So, and again, got the fire in the gut. The boys love me.
Dang.
They rallied around me.
You're an officer? You got the fire in the gut?
Yeah.
I haven't heard that too much. Have you heard that too much?
I don't know.
I haven't heard that too much. A caveat, or what is it called? I don't forget what it's called, but I had one of my buddies text me the day, oh, you're making it sound like buds is super easy. It's not easy. And I was like, no. Let me correct myself. I'm not saying buds is easy. Like you said, buds is hard. It's physically hard. The hardest thing to me, I think physically, is that it goes on day after day after day after day after day. And so when you're doing a 4-mile timed run, which should be pretty easy because in first phase, you've got 32 minutes to do that. That's a slow pace. Even for a grown man, that's a slow pace. Even for a big guy, that's a slow pace. But when you've done 8,000 8-count bodybuilders the day before, and then you got up at 3 a.m. and you did 8 million flutter kicks, and then you go out and get on the beach and you do a timed run in soft sand with boots on, it's not easy. And that's what trips people up, I think, the grind.
The one thing too for me that was a driver is there was no way that I was going to disrespect the Marine reconnaissance community. No way. There are some warriors. I mean, there's a lot of warriors within that community, and so that was always over my head. No way was I going to ring that bell.
Yeah.
That would just be a complete, complete utter lack of respect for the community I came from.
The quitting in buds is really hard to understand, and I had like a midlife crisis several months ago because some people that I knew about and that I talked to had quit, and like I didn't get it. And there's been guys from the Marine Corps that have gone through that I've been like, oh, that's awesome. And then they quit. And you're thinking to yourself, how does this even happen? So I'm 100% on board with the thought that no one knows who's going to make it through. No one knows. Like, you can't say this guy's going to make it, he's a stud, or this person's not going to make it because they're weak. You literally don't know. Now, could I bat 60%, maybe 70%, maybe, but there's no way you could make a sure thing. There's not one person in the world that you could say this guy is going to make it through buds 100%. There's no person in the world you can say that about that I know of.
The most humbling lesson I learned in buds, and you're going to find this funny, was I went through buds with a guy named Ryan Job. Sound familiar?
Mm-hmm.
And again, remember, I was a really fired up Marine sergeant that just pinned on bars. And from judging a book by its cover, you look at Ryan, you're like, you're not going to make it. Everything was sloppy about him. Mm-hmm. And I even told him at one point, I'm like, hey, man, you're not going to make it. You should quit now. And just to watch him and the instructors zeroed in on him, and the kid had no quit. Mm-hmm. And even at the end of Hell Week, having been beat more than anyone in that class, the instructors actually pulled him aside and they said, hey, you're good to go. Like, we've thrown everything at you in the kitchen sink and you stood strong. You're going to be a great SEAL. And I watched that and I'm like, oh man,
yep.
Who am I to judge who's going to make it and who's not? And that was a life lesson I still remember. It wasn't until Ramadi that I apologized to Ryan. He sort of giggled and he's like, yeah, I know. He's like, you all thought I wasn't going to make it.
Yeah, like you said, though, zero quit.
Yeah.
Zero quit.
No.
And doesn't matter what you do to me, I'm going to be right here.